But see, poor is a state of mind. Broke is a temporary condition. I'll repeat that again. Poor is a state of mind. Broke is a temporary condition. So by living that way and knowing what my dad had done, my dad never told me that I couldn't do anything. He just told me I had to work 3 times as hard. That's fine with me. I don't care what it takes to get to the other side of the river, whether it's a rowboat or a speedboat. The only thing that matters to me is that I get across. How about you? So, we remember the past, and we're forging the future. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? With record unemployment among our youth, I heard something on CNN about several weeks ago that really shocked me. It said only 5% of African Americans, males, complete college. Only 5% of African American males complete college. 40% of our youth are on the unemployment list. 15% of unemployment, even though it says 8.99 for America, for African Americans, it's almost doubled. Am I telling you anything you don't know? Not really. But my question is, what do we do about it? With our youth, not our males, especially our young men, only 5% receiving unemployment, a college degree. Let me ask you a question. Who is your daughter going to marry? Who is your granddaughter going to marry? How will they support themselves? How will they provide for a family? Some of us in this room today are in positions that our forefathers only dreamed of. They couldn't imagine having the positions that we have today. Well, let's get real. We argue about going to work. I sat in the office. My dad would have never thought about being in an office where all you had to do was push buttons on a, as he would call it, a gizmo, and drink coffee all day. I was a planner, forgive me. Drink coffee all day. I remember back at my job, I built ships for a lot of years. Most of these carriers that you see on the news, I've had something to do with them in one way or another. Up to the Ronald Reagan, I built ships for 30 years. And the young people, the young engineers, the young designers that were on the job, when the company first started allowing people to take Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's holiday off without pay, the young African Americans wouldn't do it. And a lot of older African Americans wouldn't do it. You know why? They weren't getting paid. Not understanding they'd already been paid. The fact that they were in that job was the payment that they had received. I knew the price that it took to put me in that engineering seat. I didn't want to forget that because of the price that people paid, I could sit there as an engineer, I could sit there as a planner, I could be in a position of leadership and have an impact, all because of someone else. So, irreverence has become irrelevance. Irreverence has become irrelevance. Because we don't honor things like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday or other African American celebrations like Juneteenth. We don't honor and remember irreverence. And now it's irrelevant until we see our neighborhoods and our society falling apart, till we see what's happening to our young people. Just think about that. What's happening to our young people? Somebody paid the price for us. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? How do we see the future? How do you see the future? How do we forge ahead? I came to tell you this one thing. You are the answer. You are the answer. You're an answer to a lot of dreams. You're an answer to a mother who's sitting there crying at 15 years old wondering, how am I going to make it? To a young boy that's sitting there looking at a book. He's only 8 years old and he hears gunfire outside of his house. To that young man who's come out of college only to find there are no jobs. You are the answer. I want to challenge you with 3 things. Number 1, will you use your God-given talents to open the door for someone else? Will you use your God-given talents to open the door for someone else? Number 2, will you leave a legacy? Will you leave a legacy? Or will you just collect your pensions and your 401ks and go home? Will you leave a legacy? Juneteenth. I found this, I was searching Google and Juneteenth because I wanted more information on it. And I found this statement. And I thought, wow, this will be really appropriate for today. And I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I'm just going to read 2 paragraphs. 2 paragraphs. Because it's absolutely essential that we understand what this is really all about. This is a chance for you to change life as you know it. Juneteenth is a day of reflection, a day of renewal, a pride-filled day. It is a moment in time taken to appreciate the African American experience. It is inclusive of all races, ethnicities, and nationalities. And as nothing is more comforting than the hand of a friend. On Juneteenth, we come together, young and old, to listen, to learn, and to refresh the drive to achieve. It is a day where all take one step closer together to better utilize the energy wasted on racism. Juneteenth is a day that we pray for peace and liberty for all. I don't know about you, but that really represented Juneteenth to me. Because it really lines up with our Constitution. So my 3rd challenge to you is this. Will you ignite the hearts and the minds of the next generation to make a difference, to propel us into the 21st century, to make America truly one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, in the spirit of Juneteenth? Will you do that? And I'm going to conclude by telling this one story. I call this my donkey story. My donkey story is simply this. It's about a donkey these guys decided they wanted to bury. So they were going to throw the donkey in this deep well and throw the dirt on it. And it's called Shake It Off. So what they did, they put the donkey down in the well and they started shoveling dirt on his back. And every time the donkey felt the dirt get heavy on his back, he shook it off and he stepped up on top of it. And so they shoveled more in, and when he shoveled more in, he shook it off and stepped up on top of it. Then they shoveled more in, when he got the dirt on his back, he shook it off and stepped up on top of it. Eventually, the donkey walked right out of the well. And the moral of that story is this. The very same thing that they thought would bury him He used it for a platform to success. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Have a wonderful day.